This is your daily market review for Monday, June 17th, 2024. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market review for Monday, June 17th, 2024. Hopefully you're having a great day. Interesting market, interesting close. I agree with Jay Solstice here. Surprised, but not surprised. I mean, there's a lot of action. Again, if you go look at the breadth, it's not as strong as it seems, however, but the market is holding up. So again, we know going into quad witching option expiration, we talked about this. It's going to be a roller coaster. If you go look at the, what do you call it? Stock Traders Almanac. Today was a bull day. Not surprised. However, again, let's dig deeper into it. If you have questions, please reach out. Always here to help. Want to join the Discord room? Link in description below. Follow on Twitter, posting all the ideas, thoughts, processes, what we're thinking. If you want to chat, use the Calendly link. Let me know how I can help. Also check out thetradingagent.com website. All sorts of fun stuff, updates, Twitter, the recommended reading. Here you go. Get your Stock Traders Almanac. Follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, again, leave a comment below. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. So we know there's not going to be any rate cuts until potentially September. I know people are now putting bets on for December, like a guaranteed rate cut. Man, look at that. Yeah, I was reading some of the bets on that, and it's wild. Because again, if you're looking to buy a house, invest in real estate, you need help, don't hesitate to reach out. I think at some point between now and the election, maybe even after, there's going to be some shenanigans. Rates could come down fast. The market could get absolutely blasted. There could be all sorts of things that go on. But either way, be prepared. Build a search. Reach out to a great agent. Let me help you find that agent. Again, that is what I do. Love helping people out. So again, Bitcoin, we talked about hitting the 70,000 level. Chopping, US oil. Again, just oil in general. I mean, I've said this and I'll go on record again. I mean, the downside to me is there. But longer term, the SPR has to be refilled. There's shortages. I just don't think it's sustainable. Natural gas, as we've talked about, great trade off the lows. If you're trading it now, just be careful. Again, near term, short term. Again, quad witching options expiration, end of a quarter. It's going to be a rocky road. Again, do yourself a favor. If you have questions, please reach out. This video is sponsored by me, Dan Max Realty at EXP. Let me know how I can help. Because again, I think there's a lot of people who are missing out on the idea that if you don't put yourself in a position to take advantage of what happens with rates, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out. Because again, I think the safest thing long term is always going to be real estate. Tax advantages are immense. Go on a 30-minute rant about it. Dollar, we talked about gapping up and then being potentially a trap. Again, near term, tough to tell. But this, I mean, that was the decoupling of this petrodollar from the Saudis. Keep an eye on that. VIX, again, going into quad witching OPEX, I mean, basing to go higher, in my opinion, it's going to be all over the place. Remember, if the market is down part of the week, it'll be up part of the week during options expiration. Again, the goal is to kill the most amount of premium. VIX, as we talked about, bottom first. So again, it gives you premise to be bearish, but also again, with the VIX holding at the lows, you got to be careful because here you go. This is what we talked about. Like again, charts first, SPY. All right, go with. You broke out. Okay. It's just interesting because again, like some of the folks are talking about, like, look at the 10-minute, look at the close. Ay caramba. I mean, somebody wanted out. We've talked about the economy slowing. I mean, you got retail sales tomorrow, industrial production, capacity utilization, business inventories. It's just a matter of when, in my opinion, that the recession just comes out harder. And then that's the thing, the Feds will have to pivot. However, if you're long the market, just be careful though. As I've talked, roll up your stops. Again, if you're short certain names, you got stopped out. And if you're working, they're working. If they're not, and you're long, again, if you're long, you got to be careful too. IWM we talked about, posted this morning, potentially being oversold near term. Goes from 207 down to 197. Not surprised by that. DIA, which had been leading up. Remember, this has been the leader up. Holding channel, trend line, whatever you want to call it, chopping. Gold, again, I don't trust gold until the Feds pivot. Things get worse because I've seen liquidity and then throw the baby out with the bathwater. Looks like a double top. Silver, just not performing. We've talked about this. I mean, it broke out, came back. Now it's holding the 50-day. Again, the easiest time to buy this stuff was in, there'll be no doubt moments. You'll know when this stuff gets washed out. GDX coming back down, GDXJ coming on down. I mean, same kind of stuff. Same kind of stuff. If you bought the dust in the 7s, holding at 8, you're looking pretty good. AEM, Again, miners that had just been ripping back under the 50-day. AG, this was so confusing for silver folks. I'm like, it's tough to really trust silver when AG makes a lower high and is now just getting crushed. Remember, miners lead the metals typically. Newmont, no love. I mean, this thing should be at the 80s. It's in the 40 level. Pass. This one had a nice run up. And then we talked about, be careful, high volume at the highs after a big run. It goes from 12 to 22. Now it needs, again, let these names just consolidate, play the game. Taiwan Semi, again, I mean, mind boggled. Keep an eye on this one because I'm going to venture a guess. A lot of these dojis up here, this one could be it. Channel high, a gap above it. High volume looks like selling. Especially if you look at, some of the action right off the open. It's just not so hot. Micron held up better. Speaking of, again, credit where credit's due. High volume. Keep an eye on it. Wild candles. Again, if you go look at the 10-minute, I saw this. Again, remember, it's a quad witching apex. Look at this. The open rallies back. Look at this big old wicker. And then, it's just talk about head spinning. Just be careful out there. AMD, we talked about this one being doggy doo-doo. Coming into the channel lows. This has no traction. NVIDIA, again, we talked about everyone chasing the highs. Be careful. Be careful. Quad witching OPEX, TOPEX, potentially. That's what I'd be watching for hard. I like the MVDS here. I think the risk reward is well in your favor. SMCI, we talked about yesterday being a doji. Not surprised now that it could keep going higher if it got over yesterday's, or Thursday's highs. Looking pretty good. But again, another sell into the close. I'd be watching the 950s. I think it still could run up higher. Intellectual property, we talked about, needs to hold this 29-30 area. So far, so good. Again, in general, I think it's still a piece of crap. Semiconductors coming with an old trend line. This thing is wild. Again, everyone's just hiding out, trying to hide in tech. I wish you luck. Adobe put the trade out, said if you break the 100-day, you could trade it. There you go. And then it rallies back. And this is what makes it so hard is like, yep, are you surprised it did that? No. Especially if the market held up the VIX, all the games. So watch this action. Again, I think give you opportunities to act more than once. Apple finishes the day up 420. Too funny. Again, I'm watching for a top up here and maybe a retest, chopping around. Again, there's a ton of not reorganization, but what do you call it? Fund flows. Yeah, I guess it is reorganizing, refunding. Why is my brain just not picking up on that word? But anyway, the funds are changing their asset allocations, and Apple, NVIDIA, all these names are moving around. Amazon, providing liquidity, in my opinion, to exit. Watching this one, holding a 20-50 day. Meta high, meta low. Just chopping around. Watch that 515 plus. CRM, again, gaps down on earnings, rallies back. Chopping around. Guggenheim, chopping here at, I don't know, just interesting area. It's a month of nothing. It's worth an eye on. Microsoft, again, you have references. If you want to act on them, use the references. Microsoft new highs, credit where credit's due. NDAQ, we've talked about this being a dog. Market holding up, chopping around at the range lows. MicroStrategy, again, Bitcoin leading. This will lead Bitcoin. Wide range. We talked about it hitting the 50-day. What would it do from there? So far, if you're a bull, that's ideal, but still a doji. Just set your stops, set your alarms. Be careful. Netflix leading up. Again, chasing. I'm surprised. They have no growth, in my opinion. I don't know why anyone would chase this thing, but you know what? Just watch. Roblox. This one dropped down big after, what did they announce? I can't remember it was related to earnings, but they stopped doing monthly guidance. And okay, it went from 41 down to 31. Oversold, rallies back. I'd be watching this area for failure. Pan W again. We like this stock long term. We think Pelosi knows what's up when she's buying these cybersecurity names. We talked about this 320 area. Just keep an eye on it. If it breaks out, you can play the long. If it fails, you're good. You can short too, or just wait. That's what I'm doing. Tesla. We know Elon's promising the world the next shift of his future technology. Okay. We said watch the 100-day. You had a reference here. If you went long it, congrats. It makes sense on a circumstantial near-term level at worst. Yeah, you get over the 100-day. I don't know why you wouldn't get back up to 208. The market holds up. If it doesn't, then, obviously it's going to get pulled back down. INCY, we talked about this one, high volume. Something's going on down on this name. Again, I would be watching for pullbacks on this. McDonald's, as a request from the homies. Yeah, watching these lows. Again, no volume today. The close had volume. The close had all the volume. It's just weird. Nothing much, just kind of waiting. DKNG, again, if you short this, we talked about this. Interesting candle today. We talked about taking profits on the gap down, oversold, and you're getting some gifts from the gods. I mean, I don't have any alarm set on this one, but this one's interesting to me. I'd be watching this. I mean, you got a lot of, I don't know, a lot of congestion in this area. Look at the VAP. So I'd be watching over OPEX. Airbnb, we've talked about this one, gapping down, chopping, holding the 200-day. Costco, absolute beast. Can't do anything with that. If you're long it, congrats. Starbucks, talked about this one being a dog. I was oversold due to rally. 50-day. Again, if it clears over the 50-day, it could go to 83. Maybe it gets back to 85. I mean, maybe even the 100-day. I mean, this thing went oversold pretty quickly. Federal Express, not quickly, but got oversold pretty much. Again, this is an oversold name that we thought would rally, chopping around. Again, if the economy's good, this thing should be on fire. Especially like Caterpillar. Like, these names should be doing well. They really have nothing down here. But again, oversold near term, potentially due to bounce if the market holds up. Nucor, said that yesterday. Not surprised. Like, it was, okay, chopping around, maybe the 20-day. Sometimes you just reload. And reload, I mean chop. Right? Just be careful out there. You know your levels. X holding here. VALE, we talked about global growth name, should be on, like, doing well. This thing's been beaten, but you're back at levels that make sense. Yeah, I mean, was it trading at like a 2 PE? I don't know, something crazy. Arrow, we talked about the copper names when they topped out. A lot of them had that gap down. Okay. Go from oversold, chopping around, just keep an eye on it. CCJ, again, I hate when Goldman upgraded the high. You better hold the 50-day. I was watching that today. CF, again, we like ag names. They've been all over the place. Near term, they're probably oversold, right? Near term, they're probably due for a bounce, right? Just simple stuff. If you want to play them up, makes sense. Oversold near term. But longer term, just kind of let them play the game. Aaron, we talked about this one. I can't trust it. Longer term, again, I would love to pick this up back near the lows. XLF, holding 100-day. Okay. Down on volume. I mean, this one's a tricky little sucker. I mean, we know banks carry all the problems here. Just keep an eye on. Again, know your levels. But here's the thing. Like, don't freak out. Manage your positions. Take profits as needed. Just do what you got to do to make money. JP Morgan, as we talked about, if they're not buying back stock at the high, Jamie Dimon doesn't think it's a good value, why would the market? So we'll see what happens here. You're kind of flagging down, in my opinion. We'll see what happens next. Morgan Stanley Morgan. This one got up into the 100 plus that I'm surprised at now. Chopping the 50-day, probably 50, 20-day chop range. Bank of America holding up pretty darn well. Credit where credit's due. Goldman Sachs, again, if you got your Marcus account, you're feeling pretty good long term. Said, I mean, this thing's making new all-time highs, but now it's just flagging out. Just worth an eye on. This is where it gets confusing, right? Because we talked about the KRE. Like, junior banks just look like crap. But then you break out and then come back and chop it around. Now, here you go. Here's an OPEX trap, potentially. Like, love to see, not love, but would not be surprised by the idea that this holds here in OPEX to only go somewhere else later. XBI, as we talked about, junior bios. I mean, they were ripping, and then they've gone nowhere. And this is a risk-on name, and, kind of looks like left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's just a very complex right shoulder. Be careful. Solar, as we talked about. I mean, just because they put AI in solar, don't trust it. Don't trust it at all. Again, I mean, these stocks have to take the bath. That's just all. Sedge, we've talked about this one. This one's been an absolute just game-changing turd. Maybe it gets oversold near term and chops, but I don't know. ENPH, we talked about watching this. I mean, that's a pretty good trade. 140s down to 117. I mean, I think the trade on this one ultimately is it's going to be going lower. You could draw trend lines galore on this thing. I'm just kind of playing with it as I see it. I mean, this area is going to take some time to probably process through, and it's going to matter when oil. I mean, when oil gets it, the solar names will get it. We talked about the joke that was, throwing AI on this. You had that doji, and then it comes down 307 down to 250. It's an amazing trade if you short it. Now, near term, don't be surprised. I mean, could it get back into this 287, 290 area? That's always possible. First Solar is a wild bugger. HYG, as we talked about, corporate debt. I mean, you got to be high out of your mind to even think about buying corporate debt. Like, literally, like that. It just makes no sense. But we'll see what happens near term. It's always a crapshoot. Oil rallying. Okay, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. We've talked about the UNG. I don't like this trade. Again, I don't like the UNG double top KOLD. I mean, this is where the short is. Again, decaying, made a lower low. Now I'll just let it play out. If it pops, better. XOP chopping around here. This one's interesting. Doji fills some gaps. Again, technically oversold near term. Keep an eye on it. Just worth a gander. ExxonMobil, worth a gander, right? Goes from, I don't know, 116 down to 108. Pretty straight line. Valero, we like the gasoline names like to watch. They've been kind of chopping around. MPC, not really giving you much on the dial. CVE, speaking of, we talked about this one. Take your profits. Now what? Let it play out. Chop around. I mean, let these names just come in. Occidental. Again, I don't see Buffett doing anything, but he always does. He's going to let this thing trade in this big ass range. And if you're not comfortable with that, then just be careful. Sell calls, sell puts. That's what he's doing. EQT, again, I like these names long term, especially Flex LNG with this juicy dividend, because I think we'll be natural gas exporters. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Always here to help. I love you guys from the bottom of my soul. Love all the help that you guys are helping each other out. If you need help in the markets, need help in real estate, do not hesitate to reach out. That is what we do. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Talk to you soon. Peace.